Greetings, friends. It is Monday, the 1st of February. Already to the second month of the year, and it's interesting, it's 2/1/21. In case any of you are looking at the way those work, on my birthday it was 1/21/21, so it could go either way. Anyway, today I'm going to read from Matthew 5, verses 22 to 24. We're going to be talking about the offering today in our worship service. And so here is, "But I say to you that if you are angry with your brother or sister, you will be liable to judgment. And if you insult a brother or sister, you'll be liable to the council. And if you say, 'You fool,' you'll be liable to the hell of fire. So when you are offering a gift at the altar, if you remember that your brother or sister has something against you, leave your gift there before the altar and go. First be reconciled to your brother or sister, and then come and offer your gift. Come to terms quickly with your accuser while you are on the way to court with him or her, or your accuser may hand you over to the judge, and the judge to the guard, and you'll be thrown into prison. Truly I tell you, you will never get out until you have paid the last penny." Mostly in this text, I'm interested in the offering part of it, and I read a little more. I actually read 22 to 26. But when you go to make that offering, if there's an issue, go clear up that issue before you come to the table. And, there are so many issues today. It's probably impossible not to come to the table with some of those things. But mainly, when we come to make our offering, we are to come with an open and free heart. So, since I have a captured audience, and we've been looking at some of the texts from the Book of Order also in regard to worship, this one is from the Directory for Worship, W303.0309, Offering and Lord's Supper. The collection of tithes and offerings and the celebration of the Lord's Supper take place as a response to the Word. These actions are signs of our gratitude for the grace of God proclaimed in the Gospel. If the Lord's Supper is omitted, a prayer of thanksgiving and dedication follows the collection of the offering. There is another section here, 3.0411. Oh, a whole big thing on the offering. Christian life is an offering of oneself to God. In the Lord's Supper, we are presented with the costly self-offering of Jesus Christ for the life of the world. As those who have been claimed and set free by His grace, we respond with gratitude, offering Him our lives, our spiritual gifts, and our material goods. Every service of worship shall include an opportunity to respond to Christ's call to discipleship through self-offering. The gifts we offer express our stewardship of creation, demonstrate our care for one another, support the ministries of the church, and provide for the needs of the poor. Tithes and offerings are gathered as an act of thanksgiving to God. Isn't this true? How beautiful is that? About doing it in response. As we started this whole section, we started by talking about responding, and our offering is a continuation of responding. The only thing I regret is my economies. Reynold Price. One of the greatest scenes in the movie history is Oskar Schindler holding his cufflinks in his hand at the end of Schindler's List. The movie portrays Schindler, a member of the Nazi Party, working against the government as he buys Jews to put them to work in a weapons factory. His secret is that the weapons factory is making worthless weapons. His purchase of Jews is an attempt at salvation in the midst of the horrors of anti-Semitism. As the movie comes to an end, scenes of offering unfold. In case the Allies caught him, the leaders of the Jewish community write a letter explaining the good deeds Schindler had done. The Jewish workers line up one by one to have gold from their teeth extracted to make a ring for Schindler. Inscribed inside the ring are the words from the Talmud: "Whoever saves one life saves the world entire." The offerings continue. Schindler makes sure that each of the Jews receives vodka and cigarettes, not to be consumed, but to be used for trade. He knows these items could be difference between life and death for them as they journey home. But the real difference between life and death becomes most apparent to Schindler as he looks at the clothes he is wearing. "I threw away so much money," he laments. "If I had just..." One of the Jewish leaders interrupts him. "There will be generations because of what you have done." Schindler continues as he regrets his economies. "I didn't do enough. This car, this could have saved 10 people. This pin, it could have saved 2 people. This cufflink, one more person could be standing here for this. I could have saved one more person and I didn't." We Christians would do well to look at our cufflinks. It is ironic to me that so much of the Bible is devoted to issues of stewardship, tithing and wealth, jubilee offerings and the yield of one's harvest. And yet we spend so little time internalizing what this means for our lives. Over and over again, the message is clear: share the wealth. Still, we continue, as one pastor put it, excuse me, to spend more each month on our gas and pizza bill than we give to the church. 10%. Who wants to hear that at stewardship season? We tiptoe around the issue, hiring consultants, coming up with theme verses, putting offering plates at the back of the sanctuary, and allowing the desires of a congregation not to hear about money dictate the message of the stewardship sermon. We want to know what the church offers us, rather than wrestle with what cufflinks we need to pull out of our drawers and offer the church. Michael Lindvall tells us his words to a new member class: "You have a right to ask what this church can offer you, but there is another question you ought to ask, and it's the second question, and it's not the second question, but really the first. You need to ask what you can offer the church." Or I would say, what you can offer God. We are quick to determine other ways of giving that sidestep the church. Many a pastor has heard the question, "Why should I give to the church when I could put this money directly in the pocket of someone who needs it and minimize the administrative costs?" This question assumes the wrong thing. We do not give to the church, we give as a church. We give as a body of people who discern the needs of our community and world and give in the name of Jesus Christ. Of course, some of that money supports a building and a staff, but both are necessary in proclaiming the gospel. Our giving to the church should not be out of guilt or shame, but in response to our own internalization of the gospel and its demand on our lives. Christ honors the one woman in the Bible who put in her 2 cents. She recognized Christ and his claim on her life. He goes on to say, "Truly I tell you, this poor widow has put more than all of them. For all of them have contributed out of their abundance, but she out of her poverty has put in all she had to live on." Her offering was a matter of life and death. She gave everything that she had to live on. In so doing, her offering demanded her trust in a God who would provide. In a sermon preached by Dave Davis, he referred to the clink clink of the widow's offering. The echo of those 2 copper coins continues to this day, challenges us to ask ourselves, are we willing to put in all that we have to live on? In our holding on to our coins, to our cufflinks, to our gas and pizza bill, we economize and thereby strangle the message of the gospel. It is hard to imagine a stewardship campaign being led by the words, "Your offering is a matter of life and death." Although the fact is clear, its truth is hard to hear. Rainer Maria Rilke writes, "The transformed speaks only to relinquishers. All holders on are stranglers." We are able to relinquish because we are transformed. We are able to let go because we are held on to. Our offering is about what we let go of. It is about much more than our money. It is relinquishing control and fear because we know that in the relinquishing, God transforms them. The act of offering is letting go of desire and want. It is allowing ourselves to be vulnerable and unsure of what the future will bring. To relinquish is to save a life. To hold on is to choose death. Our offering is truly a matter of life and death. 2 recent college graduates I know were confronted with the need of a homeless family in Appalachia. Because their student loans totaled more than $100,000, they lived on the salary of the teacher in the family and used the salary of the other to pay the loans. Learning of 3 children who did not have a roof over their heads, they sent a check for $1,000 immediately. What's another month of paying off this loan for us when their need is for today? They knew that lives were at stake, and their faith necessitated that they choose life. The needs of the day are not just financial. We can offer ourselves above and beyond our wallets to the needs of the world. An artist seeing children bored after school in a low-income neighborhood near her home in Virginia loads up her station wagon with art supplies and operates a community art center from the trunk of her car. A seminarian confronted with a man on death row who claims his innocence quits school, learns the law, and devotes his life to freeing those wrongly convicted. A corporate executive from California learns the needs of an orphanage in Washington, D.C., quits her job, sells her home, packs her bags, and shows up to become a dorm mother. Now there is never a day I don't wake up. Now there is never a day I don't want to wake up. How could I miss seeing the smile on one of the kids' faces? Relinquishing norms, expectations, and fears, these faithful find freedom in letting go of the gravity holding them in their place, and in turn acknowledge that they are held by grace. God's economy looks completely different from an economic system we have lived under. It's an economic system where there are no regrets for what we've given. All are paid the same wage. The last become first and the first become last. God's economy generates a kingdom that is bigger than our fears, broader than our desires, wider than our attempts to economize. In God's economic system, 2 copper coins are the epitome of abundance, cufflinks, a matter of life and death. Offering is an act of worship, demands that we become our Father's children again, capital F. In so doing, we trust in a new way, offer our lives wholly in a new way. We let go of our cufflinks and coins, loan payments, and educational goals. We lose our lives so that others might be saved. In our relinquishing, lives are saved and generations will grow. Powerful, powerful, powerful. I love the fact that Jesus talks about money more than anything else in his ministry. It is a big part of importance in ministry. Let's pray the prayer that he taught us. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Today, I think I'll just end with this. Clink, clink.